needless to say, I had some uninvited guests in my house. Not going to bore everyone with the details, but we'll save that for after our presentation. I told them that they had to go away. Okay, when shall we begin?
I saw your message about needing a few minutes to set up, but you feel free to start whenever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so let's just get started. Good morning, everyone. We are so delighted that you are here. And as you can see with our presentation, we're going to be looking at reflective coaching for supervisors from good to great exclamation point. And we're going to establish our ways of being. Our presenters, you can see them on the screen. And in just a moment, we are going to take a look at them. Let's see. Okay. So, Jennifer, who are you?
Who am I? Well, pronouns she, her. I was with San Jose State for a little over 5 years, left San Jose State, went into administration, and then now I'm back. I'm just going into my 2nd year, and I am so excited to be working in the multiple subject as a field supervisor and as a lecturer this year. So glad to see everyone.
Who am I? My pronouns are she, her. I have 10 years of service at San Jose State. I came to San Jose State because I had retired from education, and my journey wasn't finished yet in my mind. And I work with Jennifer and with Bernadette as multiple subject field supervisors. And Bernadette?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Bernadette Rodríguez. My pronouns are she, hers, and ella. I've been at San Jose State for 6 years. I am a lecturer and a bilingual field supervisor, both jobs, which I love very much. And I also enjoy working with Jennifer and Helen, especially for this presentation. I've gotten to know them a lot better.
Okay, let's see. See what we can do here.
Helen, did you want to invite them to put their information in the chat?
Yes, please do. So we need, you know who we are, but who are you? And you can follow the models that we've given you, or you can use a few different ways of doing it. Just, we're interested in your years of experience, how long you've been doing this, and where you work. All right, we'll give you about a minute or so. And let's see. All right, let's see what we have here. Ooh, I can see people coming in. All right.
Welcome, Susie. Welcome, Jolene. Good to see you.
Yes. Hi, Jolene.
Yeah.
And retired teachers. Oh, I saw someone 25 years. Whoa.
That's all.
When I would hear people, or when my mother would see people that had lots of times of experience, just go on with your bad self. You know, let's keep it up. Keep it up. And someone's beginning. That's great.
Welcome, Shannon. Sean.
Great. Okay. Hi, Sean. Good to see you here. Okay. All right.
Nancy, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and just keep them going, and we'll just sort of roll along here. Okay. What we'd like to do now is to, first of all, take a look at what we do at San Jose State and how we do it. In the Lowry College of Education, we believe that we prepare transformative educators, counselors, therapists, school and community leaders. And how we do this is we take an emancipatory approach across our teaching, our scholarship, and our service. Next slide, please. There we go. We would like to take a moment, please, to acknowledge where we come from and reflect on that. So I'm just going to read it to you softly and then just reflect on what that means to you just quietly, okay? We acknowledge that San Jose State and the communities we serve occupy the unceded territory of the Muwekma Ohlone Nation, the sovereign nation and original people of the skies, land, and waters where we work and learn. The Muwekma Ohlone people are the stewards of these lands and of the teaching and learning that comes from and responds to the needs of the land, living beings, and people who share it. May our daily lives and work at San Jose State University, through research, teaching, and community engagement, support the evolving vision of the Muwekma Ohlone for their community and these lands. This particular land acknowledgement was prepared for us by Elisa Aquino in our Latinx Student Success Center. All right. We know that we have to come to agreements, and when we work at San Jose State, these are, we're always conscious of our process, and so I'm just going to, you can see there, we want everyone to participate and be present, respect, and be mindful. Have open and honest communication. As we do that, we want to respect, maintain the confidentiality of identifiable information, engage with new ideas. We offer space, make it, and take it. Sometimes we have to listen and then apply and talk about it. And then, of course, self-care is very important. And I can see that Becca is having a little bit of self-care right now. And I will join her with my cup of coffee. That's it. All right. Now, okay. Let's see. Bernadette, you have something that you want to ask us.
I do. I want to engage our participants in a poll question, and I'd like for us to rate 1 to 4. How comfortable are you with coaching emotions when they come up with your teacher candidates? Now, keep in mind, we're doing the waterfall, the visual hint there in the corner. So just put it in the chat, but do not send it yet. And if you did, it's okay. So number 1, you'll type in a 1 if you are not at all comfortable with coaching emotions. You'll type in a number 2 if you are somewhat comfortable with coaching emotions when they arise with your teacher candidates. Type in a 3 if you are comfortable, or a 4 if you are really comfortable with emotions when they arise during your coaching conversations with your candidates. All right. Give you about 5 seconds to put your number in there without sending it.
You might as well say, oh, Bernadette, they're already.
Oh my gosh. All right, Jennifer, let me hear what we have.
We have lots of 3s and 4s and 2s.
That's great.
Okay.
All right. So not too many 1s. Good. Then you are all in the right place, because that is exactly what we're going to be sharing with you today. Let's go over our objectives first.
Okay, well, thank you both for those group agreements and land acknowledgement and our poll. So let's take a moment and review what our objectives are for this presentation. What we're going to do at the very beginning is really start to explore Elena Aguilar's core human needs framework and how we can use it as a resource. If you've been in education long enough, you've heard her work, you've worked with her in some capacity. So we're going to really think about her new framework, and then identify core human needs during a coaching conversation. How do you do that? What does that look like? And then lastly, how can we learn to assist teacher candidates in recognizing and addressing their core human needs as they come up?
Right. All right, so first we're going to start out with grounding us with some foundational connections, and we're going to start with our teacher education vision at San Jose State. And here we seek to create a community that inspires and prepares teachers who are skilled, introspective, knowledgeable, collegial, responsive, and responsible, caring, equitable, and reflective agents of change. Now, in these highlighted words, we'll want to just focus a little bit on those words, and then we will connect our vision to our mission. And our mission is, in pursuit of the preceding vision, we scholar practitioners adhere to the following core principles: equity, social justice, and care, justifiable student-centered pedagogy, holistic education and advocacy for all students, and lifelong learning through reflection and critical inquiry. So within here, I hope you can hear the themes of the conference in words like introspective, responsive, equitable, reflective agents of change, social justice, care, advocacy, and reflection and critical inquiry. Adding on to our mission and vision, we want to connect to the central theme of the conference, which is culturally sustaining pedagogies. And culturally sustaining pedagogies asks, what is the purpose of schooling in a pluralistic society? The goals of CSP are to perpetuate and foster linguistic, literate, and cultural pluralism as a democratic project of schooling by, number one, sustaining cultural and linguistic competence of communities. Two, offering access to the dominant culture. Three, connecting to the traditional and evolving practices of minoritized communities. And we are aware of the shifting demographics in our public schools, in many of the areas in which we work and call home. And so we note that CSP then is necessary to honor, value, and center the rich and varied practices of communities of color, and is a necessary pedagogy for helping shape access to power in a changing nation. And this changing nation can be welcoming to some and uncomfortable for others. And with the election on the horizon, we need to be prepared for how our candidates will interpret that in their placements for themselves, invoking lots of emotions within ourselves and in our candidates. So, connecting to our vision, mission, and CSP, we also want to add Freire's humanizing pedagogies here. And Freire notes that humanization is the process of becoming more fully human as social, historical thinking, communicating, transformative, creative persons who participate in the world. So the candidates and ourselves all participate in this world, and we are all creative people. Next, Freire adds, with regard to humanizing pedagogies, he proposes that the process of humanization fosters transformation and authentic liberation. To transform the world is to humanize it. And I think in our heart of hearts, we as teachers and as supervisors want to humanize the world, and we want to model that and encourage that with our teacher candidates. And finally, a humanizing pedagogy is crucial for both teacher and student success and critical for the academic and social resiliency of students. So here we are in this theoretical framework, in this theoretical context. And finally, within this theoretical context, we want to add Elena Aguilar's Art of Transformation coaching model, where she, in her hot off the press book, Arise, notes that transformational coaching is the best way to care for teachers while centering the needs of children. This approach to development is holistic and human-centered and addresses the three domains of who we are, what we think, how we feel, and what we do. She goes on to write, with regard to emotions, that we engage emotions. Emotions are a normal part of being human, and they arise more intensely when we are in a growth process. A transformational coach knows that emotions contain insight and wisdom, and that we can engage with them in healthy ways. We acknowledge and welcome emotions, both our own and our clients, and we coach towards emotional resilience. A transformational coach is comfortable standing at the intersection of equity and emotions. And finally, we borrow from Elena one more time when she writes, to be human means to express emotions. We can't choose whether or not to have emotions, but we do have a choice about how we engage with them. And so we will take you a little further into developing emotions and how to coach with them, or how to coach with emotions with our teacher candidates. Jennifer, tell us your story.
Yes, thank you, Bernadette. So let's jump in and let's start to explore a crucial aspect of coaching, which is how to navigate emotional conversations with your teacher candidates. Have you ever prepared for a coaching session only to find the conversation veers off in an unexpected direction? Well, let me share a personal experience when it happened to me. As part of the last coaching cycle of last year, I observed a literacy lesson taught by a teacher candidate in the kindergarten classroom. In my view, I thought it went really well. The teacher candidate had a different perspective. She was visibly discontent with the outcome of her lesson, for her emotions were running high. The conversation quickly shifted from a structured debrief to a much more emotional exchange and almost a meltdown. At that moment, I was faced with a critical decision. Should I persist with the pre-planned debrief or acknowledge and address her emotional state? I'm going to pause a moment, and I'm curious to know, what do you all think I did? Do you think I moved on with my pre-planned conversation dialogue? Or do you think I stopped and addressed the emotion? Put in the chat what you think I did. It can be as simple as moved on or addressed the emotion. Okay, most of you are thinking I addressed the emotion. Yes, I chose to adapt in the moment to address the emotion. I recognize that addressing the emotion was not only necessary, but vital for that coaching relationship to stay intact. Here's how I navigated that challenging conversation with Elena Aguilar teaching of transformational coaching at the top of mind. I knew first I had to activate my listening skills. Similar to what Dr. Thomas was talking about this morning, that is first and foremost. When you're having a dialogue, you have to be ready to listen, right? I focused on truly hearing her concerns, not just waiting for my turn to speak, which I love to do, just jump in, right? But I had to really focus on what she was trying to convey to me. I also had to start to think, what's truly going on here? I had to be curious. And I did that by asking open-ended questions to better understand the root of her emotions and frustrations. And then lastly, I wanted to help her find her agency. I know it wasn't about me in that moment It wasn't about my agenda. It wasn't about checking off the boxes that I've done the coaching cycle. It was how to guide her in recognizing and addressing the unmet core human needs that were clearly affecting her perception of her teaching ability. That is what we're here to talk about today. We'll have some time shortly to explore various coaching scenarios that will allow you the opportunity to consider what you will do in those situations. So I'm just going to recap the 3 steps that I engaged in during this coaching cycle. 1, active listening. 2, became curious. And 3, help the teacher candidate find agency through identifying and addressing their core human needs that were unmet, and to ensure the emotional challenges don't derail productive coaching conversations. Before we give you an opportunity to practice with scenarios, I want to turn it over to Helen, and she's going to walk us through what those core human needs are and provide us with a working definition. All right, Helen, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Our core human needs start with belonging. And you'll see to the right of the screen, that takes place in different forms. Being connected, relating to, developing interpersonal relationships, being part of a group, being friendly, having a trust, acceptance, giving and receiving affection and love. And I think about my own involvement with this, learning how to work in this presentation mode. I had not done that before, but I was confident that I could be welcomed to do so. Okay. And the next part, okay. Autonomy. That means having a sense of control in your life, being able to make choices, and having the agency to do that. If we truly are working meaningfully, then we have to be able to make choices. That just goes without saying. Next slide. It involves with competence. That means self-fulfillment, personal growth, feeling masterful at something. That is, when I think of personal growth, I think, okay, I don't just stop now. I'm going to continue to grow in order to increase my ability. And self-esteem. If my self-esteem is low, it goes without saying, that I don't have a genuine sense of that I matter. But now let's take a look at this a little bit more. It means that it's not dependent on achievement attainment, acquisition, or valuation by others. It's how I feel. I'm here. I matter. And then trust. I believe that we have the personal and social resources needed to sustain ourselves through life. Think about that. We have the personal and social resources. We may not know where they are or how to put them in place right away, but we know that they're there and we can trust ourselves to find them. And lastly, our purpose. Knowing ourselves as part of something larger, spiritual or as part of nature, living a life of meaning and experiencing transcendence. That's something that we want to acquire. And these words are, again, found in Arise on page 5. It's a useful document, and you'll have access to that later. Okay. Now, Bernadette, what are we going to do with all of this?
Oh, we can't hear you, Bernadette. You're muted.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Becca. So Helen, thank you for inviting me to participate on this slide. I think that coaching for core human needs, as Elena Aguilar defines it, means that we consider emotions as valid as any other kind of data, and we respond to them accordingly. A transformational coach recognizes when a client is experiencing or expressing emotions in a similar way that Jennifer did. With this awareness, we ask ourselves if it might be beneficial for the client to explore the emotions that are present for them, and if so, we skillfully open that line of inquiry with the client. And then we are going to ask if someone is going to put in the chat access to this document here. And we want you to have that for this next activity.
Oh, Jennifer, I think you're saying something, but we can't hear you. You're muted.
I was saying, Bernadette will also be on our slide deck that they can reference in their activity. So thank you. Well, let's get started. Let's practice identifying core human needs and ways to bring it into our coaching conversations with teacher candidates. We have created for the very first time an activity that will allow you to push up your sleeves and do some reflection on various scenarios that you might have had in your own coaching experiences. It is from the perspective of the teacher candidate and the perspective of a field supervisor. The activity looks identical to what you see on the screen. Again, one side is teacher supervisors. On the right side would be teacher candidate. We ask when you get into your breakout room shortly that you take a moment, read through the scenarios, determine then which core need is unmet. Then you're just going to drag the scenario under the correct heading. Easy as that. Please use this activity as a way to explore the different emotions that could come up and what the conversation could sound like or look like in that given situation. Also use this time to discuss any other scenarios that you think you would like to address that is also applicable to this activity. Okay.
Jennifer, just quickly, I don't see the slide deck or this link in your resources folder. Oh, just saw you send it to me. I'll upload it there now. Thank you.
Okay. And then everyone will need to have access to that slide deck. So if you haven't already, click on that so you can pull up that slide deck that you can access when you are in your breakout room. Okay, thank you for doing that, Becca. And if Becca, can you support with creating breakout rooms? Maybe 4 participants per room, 4 to 5.
Great.
No more. Thank you. You'll have 15 minutes, everyone, to complete the activity. We'll give you about a 5-minute warning as we get close to completing the time. We will share a link. It's there already. So again, please make sure you click on it and it's working. You should be able to access it. I shared access to everyone. Once you are in the breakout rooms, you should see a timer. We want to have a timer for you on the top right-hand side of the screen so you know how much time you have. Then open the slide deck and find the slide that corresponds with your breakout room. So what does that mean? If I'm in breakout room 6, you want to find the slide that corresponds to 6. Okay. We also provided a sample of what the activity should look like. Not for you to use what we have decided the scenario should be placed under, but for you to get a kind of visual landscape of what it could look like. Okay. Additionally, we added reflective questions for you early finishers to think a little bit more about the activity overall. We also encourage you, if you get stuck, because that happens, push the ask button and one of the presenters will pop in and help you. Also, please remember, part of our agreements would be respectful and mindful of the conversation and how you're replying to others, and give everyone a chance to participate and contribute. We also will be joining some of the rooms to just lean in and hear what the conversations are all about. All right, Becca, thumbs up if we're ready to go.
Yep, I can open them as soon as we're ready.
Wonderful. Okay. All right, everyone. Enjoy the activity and discussion, and we'll see you back in 15 minutes.
Jennifer,
Awesome.
one quick question. You mentioned that we were able to drag it and put it in that box. Not having it, well, I'm not sure if it's only me, but I don't think so. Like, we're not able to drag anything.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to get there with you.
Yep.
Yeah, I think everyone is set to just viewer access.
Oh,
I have to switch that to editor.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? I'm not sure about the breakout rooms. Where do
They haven't opened yet, I think, because I
how
don't
do I
see.
know which one I'm in? Is it
You'll get a message. Yeah, you'll get a message once they open up.
okay? Okay.
Yeah, as soon as I open them, you'll go into a room, and then at the top it should say which breakout room number you are.
Was it Maribel that came off mute to tell me? Please
Yep,
check.
it's all ready. It's good to go, Jennifer.
Wonderful. Thanks so much.
Everyone, good to go.
All right, let's make it happen.
So watch out for your breakout room. If you're 7, then it's like 7. So check it out right now.
Exactly. Thank you so much. I got 32 on my slide deck. Awesome.
Yay, great.
I'm going to pop in just a minute.
Yeah, and all 3 of you should have access to join any room at any time, so definitely feel free to.
Well.
I'm going to pause the recording for now because it doesn't follow the breakout room, so it'll just be us here.
Okay.
And then I'll start it again.
Sounds good. Welcome back. I think everyone is back. I hope it wasn't too mind-blowing for all of you, but there was a lot of great reflective and insightful conversation going on. I think across all presenters, we had a chance to pop into everyone's breakout room. So thank you. So if I can have Becca, our slide deck back up, or whomever is sharing.
I think Bernadette, you were the one sharing. I don't have the full slide deck.
Okay.
It looks like, yeah, there we go.
All right, there we go. Yeah, go to the next slide with our reflective questions. Okay. So I want to, can you click on the second one? I think I want to jump into that one first. Okay, yeah, I'll do the first one. So would anyone like to share about a coaching and conversation they had or their experience with this activity? Like we had mentioned, it's our first opportunity to share a tool like this for supervisors, and so would love to get your feedback. I know Cecilia was kind of sharing when she came back into the breakout room. Cecilia, would you like to elaborate more on your experience?
Thank you, Jennifer. I certainly will. I am smiling because, I'm all over the place. And I think Susie was with me. We were together and we were actually talking over each other and jumping in. And so our collaboration was really exciting and very emotional. So we decided, Susie and I differed on some of the areas. So we decided that we would play bingo, and we realized that some of the issues that the university supervisor and the student teacher had were they could go into several of the categories. And we realized that, you know, over time, what really stood out for me was, oh my goodness, we really have to hone in as university supervisors on the social emotional state of our student teachers, because looking at the questions or looking at the feelings and emotions that the student teacher had, it was you know, it was daunting because there was some trust issues. There was some issues of confidence. There were some issues of purpose. And so we felt, you know, I felt, and I think Susie can probably ditto this, that we really need to embrace the social emotional piece for our student teachers. And because that poor student was deathly afraid of her master teacher in our and I don't know if you all had the same scenarios, but yeah, just really it was really I now need to go back and start thinking about how I will navigate next semester and use some of the tools that we've talked about to embrace some of the social emotional pieces of student teachers.
Yeah, thank you, Cecilia, for
Thank you.
kind of just restating the importance of really zoning in on those emotional states that our teacher candidates are often put in and are feeling, and how important it is for us to recognize and help them through that process. So thank you for that. Anyone else would like to share their
I have one.
And
Okay.
just quickly,
Um,
5-minute warning, everyone.
Okay, so
I have one. I got a text to Dave and the candidate text. I passed cycle 2 in CalTPA. Thank you for your support during my meltdowns. I'll never forget how supportive you and the university is. And at one point, this individual had talked about suicide. Okay, that's how big a deal this stuff is, this emotional aspect, A to Z. But I got that today. Isn't that great news?
That is amazing
Yep.
news. It's just like a sigh of relief for many of our teacher candidates. And
You
thank
bet.
you for sharing that story with us, because that's how real these situations are for many of our teacher candidates. And without us pausing and really listening closely, we might miss the clues that are coming
The
through.
cues, you bet.
Yep, I agree. Thank you all for engaging in this activity and just sharing out some of the things that you've noticed in your own coaching practices. So in the interest of time, let me go down to the third one. Just as you can tell, we love to interact with the chat. So here's my last question for all of y'all before we finish our presentation. Can we coach effectively if core human needs are not addressed? Yes or no? You should all get this right. All right.
That's great.
All right.
I see a
You're
lot of no's.
a lot of no's. That was the biggest takeaway for this presentation for
Mhm.
today. Helen, I'll let you.
Okay. And Becca, can you show the slides again? Or Bernadette, can you show the slides again?
Yes, Helen, I believe they are visible.
Okay. Okay, and just in the interest of time, while Becca is doing, while Bernadette is doing that, we wanted you to think about, what did you learn about yourself as an instructional coach from the session that you were in today? And you can put your answer in two ways. You can put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and share with us your ahas, your thoughts, okay? And so that's one way to do it. And at this point, Bernadette, I cannot see the slides, but that doesn't mean anything. It just means I can't see them. Okay.
Are they visible to everyone else?
Yes.
Okay, so it's just me. Okay. My internet is unstable. So basically it's, what did you learn about yourself, as I said, and put it in, you can unmute yourself and share, or you can put it in a thought. And what I would like to give you or to think about is your final thought. Coaching emotions is about coaching the whole person. It's humanistic and compassionate and actionable. It's so good, I'm going to read it twice. Coaching emotions is about coaching the whole person. It's humanistic, compassionate, and actionable. So that's what we want you to take away with us. And the next slide talks about, if you have questions, how to get in touch with us. You can see there our email addresses. We would love to hear from you, because we said that this is a coaching journey. It's not a one and done. And as in the opening remarks, it was mentioned that we need to find a way to continue this. And the only way we can find it is if we actually do it. We step up and step out. So we would love to hear from you. In just a few moments, we're going to check to make sure that all of our slides are posted in the resources so that you can have access to them. And then we will go from there. And here's one important question. What's everyone having for lunch? Okay.
Thanks.